Iran is upset, and they came out flat out, no longer holding back. I mean, it's not like they've been holding back for 46 years, but Iran declares total war against U.S., Israel, and Europe as Islamic Republic seeks to expand nuclear facilities, meaning we don't give a shit if you want to do it because the sanctions right now are so bad in Iran. Let me read this to you. Iran's president declared war against U.S., Israel, Europe, just as Tehran looks to rebuild its nuclear capabilities. Masoud Pezeshkian made the bold statement in an interview published in state media Saturday. Barron's reported, in my opinion, we are at total war with the U.S., Israel, and Europe. They want to bring our country to its knees, Pezeshkian said. This war, listen to what he says, this war is worse than the one launched against the U.S. by Iraq. This is in the 80s when Saddam Hussein was there. On closer inspection, it is far more complex and difficult, he said in a reference to the 1980 to 88 war with Iran's western neighbor, which when I lived in Iran, in Tehran during those 8 years as well, the claims come amid UN sanctions on Iran, orchestrated by France, Britain, and Germany due to the regime's continued pursuit of nuclear weapons. It also followed the 12-day war with Israel in June, when the Jewish state obliterated much of the Islamic Republic's nuclear capabilities with the assistance of devastating U.S. strikes. As tensions between Middle East rivals ramps up, a Tehran-backed candidate is also likely to win a major election to a leading role with Hamas. Khalia El-Hayya, a Palestinian politician, is expected to beat out Hamas's chief Khalid Mashal in an election for head of the group's political bureau, which could be decided in the coming days, sources told Saudi Arabian outlet Asharq reported. Let me give you some numbers, folks, before Adam, I come to you. Rial is like a dollar. Rial, their currency is Tuman and Rial. Like we have the dollar, that's what Iran has. In 1979, when the revolution happened and a lot of Iranians escaped and they brought their dollar, their money from Iran to here, they had, for every dollar, it would cost you 70 rials to have a dollar. So if you had 7 million rials, you're probably coming here with $100,000, just to kind of give you some numbers of what it looks like. Today, each dollar today in Iran is 1.437 million 500 rials. You want $1, you need that amount of rials to buy a dollar. It dropped 7% this week. They're saying it's going to be going to 2 million rials. There's protesting in the bazaars. Rob, I'll send you a couple of the clips here. But first, Adam, I'll come to you and I will show some of the clips of what's going on in Iran. Adam, go ahead.
Is this the beginning of the end of the Islamic Republic regime? That's a legitimate question. So, I'll pretend I'm a politician for a second. You know how politicians ask, is your life better than it was 4 years ago? Yes or no? Vote for me to change. I'll ask the people of Iran, I'll ask the people of the Middle East who have suffered through this Islamic terrorism regime. Is your life better now than it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 46 years ago when the Ayatollahs took over Iran? No. They're one of the top 10 countries in the misery index, inflation, unemployment, misery. They've been funding terrorism all around the world. We're talking about waste, fraud, and abuse that's going on in Minnesota, Somalia, California. How much waste, fraud, and abuse has happened in Iran, funding terror networks all over the Middle East, all over the world, for what? So you have no money? And most importantly, and here's the kicker, have no water? This is a desert, barren land. And Iran is struggling with food, their economy, and drinking water. Walk me through. Tehran faces intensifying water crisis as reservoirs decline. So they've been pouring all this money into Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, trying to tear down Israel. And look where they are now. Their people are desperate. They're revolting. Women are refusing to wear a hijab. They've killed more people in the last year than ever before in terms of their own people, hanged their own people. And how have your people been served by this? So you're going to lose people when they don't have water. You're funding terrorism, but nobody has water. So, and now Are they changing? Are they shifting ideology? They're doubling down on dumb now. Now they're saying, we're going to full-on war against America, Israel, and Europe. You just got your ass kicked, Islamic Republic of Iran, and now you want to double down and try to reduplicate your nuclear strategy? The Ayatollah, who's how old now? 80-something years old. My opinion, as soon as this guy is dead, and it might come soon, that's the wrong guy, this whole regime is going to crumble, and everyone is waiting on the day for that to happen.
Here's a question, though, while you're saying that. Let's say it crumbles. Fine, it crumbles. Who's replacing them? Who? Who's going to be the replacement? What kind of a person? So the challenge isn't what's about to happen. The challenge is who is replacing this regime. A Wall Street Journal story just came out a couple days ago, day after Christmas, talking about how Iran is easing its social rules amid crisis, but crushes dissent. Live music is blaring on the streets of Tehran. Rob, you can show that one video. Women are ditching their mandatory hijabs, and young people are dancing in cafes as authorities allow a degree of social freedom not seen since the Islamic Revolution of 1970 time. At the same time, a widespread crackdown on dissidents and have executed more people this year than in nearly 4 decades. That's what Anna was talking about. More people executed this year than nearly in 4 decades. Both moves have same objective, preserving a system still shaken by last summer's 12-day war with Israel and by sanctions that have sent the economy spiraling. The regime has one goal, and that is to make sure there's no collective action, no uprising, said Fatemeh Hariadjou, a former member of the Iranian parliament who is now living in exile in the U.S. They feared that if they enforce the hijab, there will be another uprising. They decided they can't fight people on every corner. So what does this really mean, though? What does this really mean? I mean, do you think a person is going to come in and not see all the opportunities of stealing money from the Iranian people? I don't know. Do you think there's going to be a monarchy in Iran? Like they're going to want a monarchy back in Iran with somebody out here? You need a very, very strong personality for somebody to come in to address this. And quite frankly, I haven't seen that person yet. There aren't too many people in the world that want to see a strong personality come out that's fearless, that can stand against these guys and talk to them and sell the dream of what the future of Iran could look like. I haven't seen that person. A person that's willing to go beginning to the end to make sure Iranians will be free again. The good news is the Iranian people themselves are fed up. They're sick of it. I just hope they choose somebody, they get behind somebody that believes Iran can be free again, a place that all of us can go for vacation. We're on the mountains this weekend and doing amazing trick skiing, and everybody's taking notes on the way we're skiing. And Dylan says, "Hey, Dad, does Iran have mountains?" I said, "Of course Iran got mountains and snowing." "Really?" "Yes." "Rob, can you just go to Google and put Iran skiing mountain 70s? Just type in Iran mountains skiing 1970s and just look at these pictures and go to images, okay? And look what Iran looked like. This is Iran. That's not Aspen. That's not Whistler. That's not Lake Tahoe. That's not Big Bear. That's not Montana. That is Iran, folks. Iran looked like that in the 70s. You ain't got that today. You ain't got that going on today. You got to have a hijab while you're going down skiing. It was a very different climate then than today. And because at the time, the Shani was, there's so many things I've been reading and studying lately with the Iranian Revolution that happened that it's a scary sight that these guys have had control over Iran for 46 flipping years. Anyways, let's get to the next story.
And then just to put a ribbon on this, where's the crowd that was so against America striking Iran? Where's that crowd now? The Dave Smith, the Candace, the Tuckers, where are they? Silent as hell, because look at what America, in behalf of Israel, has done to the people of to the Iranian regime. They're about to crumble. It turns out Trump knows what he's doing, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, well, listen, too early to jump to conclusion as if the victory's been done. Never underestimate the power of Houthis, Hezbollah, and the IRGC to find a way to hold their people, a chokehold on their people, and not allow freedom to come their way.
Right now, with everything that's happening, I think the spiritual battle that the nation, that the world is going through right now, I think it's more obvious than I think it's ever been. And I think letting people know, I was watching Gladiator and they kept saying, hold the line. I watched another movie. I was watching Game of Thrones. Hold the line. When it comes to Christianity and your spirituality, I think having faith and not caring about anything. Dylan, I actually, Pat, and you remember this on the plane coming here, guys, on the flight here, the turbulence was so bad. I have a huge, my biggest fear of all is flying. Ask Pat, I'm sitting next to Pat. We're dropping, by the way, we're in Aspen. The mountains are like this. The altitude, it's horrible. And we're coming in for landing and we finally all nervous. And then Pat's like, ask Dylan, like, Dylan, were you worried? Were you worried? Were you scared about anything? And Dylan, how old is Dylan, Pat?
12.
Pat?
12. He's 12 years old.
Okay, Lumsden Showman. 12 years old goes, Dad, no, I'm not afraid. I have faith because I'm not scared about anything. Because if anything, God forbid, happens, I'm going to be with God and Jesus Christ in heaven. So again, wearing this shirt, guys, I can't tell you how many messages I get of people seeing the back of faith over fear. And people are like, hey, what does that mean? What does Hebrews mean? And then the conversation sparks. And I learned from Dylan at 12 years old, in that moment, what do you have to be afraid of? Nothing. You have nothing to be afraid of if you have faith. And yeah, we have the faith over fear hat. Boom, just like that. And the Valuetainment. Guys, I rock this all the time. And yeah, if you want, go to vtmerch.com and rock it.
If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.